Today I'd like to look at how we look at our sessions. And I'm thinking of the session I did with Sir where he was backing up to a mat. Even if you haven't seen it, I think you'll get the idea. First, I'd like to think about how I felt Sir did and how I'd rate that on a scale of 1 to 10. So first, he was happy, he was engaged. I liked that he increased the number of steps, we got a little farther, and they were nice, steady steps. You know, he wasn't hopping or anything. He recovered nicely from a reset that I kind of screwed up, and he did throw some behaviors at me, which kind of was a little concerning, but he recovered pretty good. And he took treats nice and gently. So looking on it, I would say if I was to rate that, it was a 9 out of 10. I was pretty happy with it. Now I want to look at it as how I performed as a handler. So, okay, first I'd say, well, I dropped a treat. I stumbled ping-ponging the number of steps, the distance. I had to think about that and kind of screwed that up a little bit. I had several slow clicks, and especially when I went to reset, that caused Sir to throw some behaviors at me, so that was basically my fault. But he did have a good recovery, and so did I. The next time I reset, I caught him really quick, and so that was a really good thing I did. And there were several late clicks, and my mechanics were kind of okay, not bad, but not great. But my rate of reinforcement was really high, so I was very happy with that. So if I were to rate that and myself as a handler, trainer, I would say 5 out of 10. Now I want to look at it as how I would rate that if I were a coach looking at that. Okay, so it was an upbeat, happy session. The timing was mostly really good. Rate of reinforcement, excellent. The mechanics, they were kind of okay, but not terrible. Not fantastic, but, you know, great. You know, pretty good. Changing criteria, pretty good. Ping-ponging the distance, there might have been a few little blips, but pretty darn good. And increasing the distance, very good. I recovered well from the bobble with the reset. And the main thing was I actually videoed the session. So if I, as a coach, were looking at this person training, I would say I would give them a 9 out of 10. So basically what I'm trying to say is when we look at how the dog did and we look at how someone else trained, we're very positive. We see all the good things. But when we look at our own training, all we see are the negative things. And I think the problem with that is that we get kind of depressed about it and think we're not doing as well as we could for our dogs, and that makes us train less. So what I'd encourage you to do is when you look at your own training, either look at it as a coach or look at it as your best friend would, because they're going to be much more kind to you than you're ever going to be to yourself. So anyhow, I would just like you to encourage to not only video your training, but to be kind to yourself when you look at it. So if you found this useful or entertaining or educational, please tell your friends and spread the herd.